Hello and welcome Star Wars Unlimited fans. I'm Justin with Gamers Guild USA and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Last week we covered AGGRO Sabine and how it can affect the meta, how you can play it, and what you can expect when playing against it. This week, to help you get prepared for the Planetary Qualifiers, I want to cover what I think is the most innovative new leader and deck to come out of Set 2 in Rey, specifically Rey Red. It's been tearing up our locals, and I want to share with you how you can use it and how you can expect to play against it in your next tournament. The deck list will be in the description below, so let's get to it. Alright, now let's dive right into the Rey Red deck list. Now, I'm going to be focusing on red here, but I'll be touching on green specifically a little bit later in this video. The reason why we're starting with red is because I think utilizing force synergies is something that is very strong, and I want people to keep working on it so that I can have more resources to work with when deciding decks to build for my Planetary Qualifier. Now, I spoke a little bit before about how Rey Red is a good option against aggro, so let's talk about that first. Rey is the leader that I would be bringing to a Planetary Qualifier to beat aggro because of how much restore she has in the deck. Starting with Moisture Farmer on turn 1, into Quill, into Yoda, into Kanan, into Luke and Rey flipping, into Redemption to heal later. It just has so many tools to heal. Once you get to a certain point in the game, you've controlled the ground, you have all your restore units. It makes it impossible for an aggro deck to actually finish you off with their units. Healing for 2 to 6 a turn kind of puts you way over the cap on where you need to be to beat aggro. Also has a really good chance to do that against other mid-range decks because we're playing such a board-centric deck, specifically in the ground. Now, of course, you have to include options in space so that you can stop opponents from kind of running away from the game in those specific zones. But because we're playing blue, we have more options to deal with that than just our Space Sentinels. We also have our removal spells in Make an Opening, Spell the Dragons, Rivals Fall, all the removal spells that blue has access to. We also have a good bevy of Sentinels all across the board in ground and space to kind of stop everything there. But again, going back to the Force synergy, we have things like Jedi Lightsaber and very specifically Force Throw. I think Force Throw is one of the best and most underutilized cards in this entire game. I think the reason being for that is just we haven't really had a really good spread of Force units to be using. But I think we are now starting to enter the time where we're getting at least close if we're not already there. I think Rey is one of the better leaders to utilize Force Throw in, because Force Throw deals with basically any unit in the game. This is why we include things like Redemption in our decks, deal up to 8 damage with our Force Throws. Really clutch against Boba leader. We can just discard a Luke Skywalker from our hand and take out a Boba when it flips, and target it towards control opponents when we know that their curve is high in their hand to take out maybe their big units, or just get rid of a card out of their hand. You can pair this deck also with things out of the sideboard like Pillage and even Spark of Rebellion off aspect to deal with control. So there are options to help you against control with this deck. I wouldn't say this is a deck that I would bring to the Planetary Qualifier expecting to beat control with it, because it's really just stopping at the top of mid-range and trying to beat earlier aggressive decks. Now, the reason why I like red over the green option is Tarkin Town, while you normally wouldn't want to play a 25 health base in a mid-range / control deck that's trying to beat aggro, because we have so much restore, I'm not really afraid of it. It also gives us board control in the form that every red deck is bringing board control in Poe and Wrecker, as well as the Force Throw I was talking about before. Now, other options that you can play with red are green. I think would probably be the second best color. Really, all you need to be thinking about to build a Rey deck is what units have 2 or less power that get the most benefit from having Rey's leader ability, pump them up, and try to take board control away from your opponent with them. Other than that, I think Rey is a great off-meta choice, very specifically if you want to beat aggro and other mid-range decks. Get out there, give it some reps, and please let me know what you find, because I want to continue working on Rey. I think it's great. This list specifically was brought to us from a local player. This is a spicy deck. It's been running our tables for the last couple of weeks, and I think it has a really good shot in the metagame. And that's a wrap on everything Rey Red. Is this the color you'd play with red? Is this even the deck you want to bring to your next Planetary Qualifier? Let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know if there's any future Star Wars content that you want to see from us. As always, if you need singles for your Rey Red deck, please visit us at gamersguildaz.tcgplayerpro.com. If you need booster boxes, packs, or accessories for your Star Wars needs, please visit us at gamersguildaz.com. Thank you for watching the video. If you found it helpful, please click on those like and subscribe buttons. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one.